Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and CFTC Chairman Russ Benham. We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, and from its founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, also known as CZ. Separate from the criminal enforcement actions, the Justice Department is announcing today Secretary Yellen and Chairman Benham will also announce civil regulatory enforcement actions, and the Treasury Department and the CFTC are taking against Binance. While criminal and civil enforcement actions are subject to different legal standards, this collective effort represents the whole of government approach that we are taking to combat corporate crime. Binance has agreed to plead guilty to willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act, knowingly failing to register as a money transmitting business, and willfully violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. These laws ensure that our financial institutions are not available to designated terrorist organizations, drug traffickers, and sanctioned nation states that threaten public safety and our national security. The Justice Department is requiring Binance to pay $4.3 billion in penalties and forfeitures. This is one of the largest penalties we have ever obtained from a corporate defendant in a criminal matter.
Why do you believe FTX failed? I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. These two behemoths that own the unregulated market together and grew these incredible businesses in terms of growth were at war with each other. And one put the other out of business intentionally. Now, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with love and war. But Binance is a massive, unregulated, global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business.
So I think Calvin's a liar. So I think he's lying about a bunch of stuff. So that's his problem. To us, we want to be transparent. We want to set the golden standard for reliability, solidness in this space.
So do it.
CZ called me a liar. That suggests that I perjured myself in front of the U.S. Senate for 2 hours this week. I can assure you that is not the case. Another little parable here you should understand. When I was young, my birth father, who's Irish, put me on his knee, and every Irishman will know this, and he said, "Son, never call an Irishman a liar unless you know with certainty that's true." And I said, "Why is that, Dad?" He said, "Because the Irish are crazy." Now, I don't know what it meant back then, but I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that. So at the end of the day, I have no ill will to this guy, but he's part of the story too. And you found out yesterday, you did a little work with Squawk Box. We talked about it either being $2 billion or $3 billion, that transaction. That's the largest transaction, I think, of anything in there regarding the balance sheet in recent 24-month period. And he confirmed it was $2.1 billion. And then he confirmed that he still had $550 million, $500 million of FTT tokens. Now, at some point, we're going to look at that week of November 6th, and you ask anybody, why was Sam Bankman-Fried or the whole company FTX forced into bankruptcy? It was jamming down that last $500 million that gave them no option. Now, is that the fatal stroke or blow to get rid of your global competitor? I say yes. I'll tell you something else. Right after that interview, I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, from a lobbyist in Washington saying, "Don't go anywhere, you're coming back." So I bet CZ bought himself an invitation to Washington yesterday. Can't wait to meet him there. We can go sightseeing.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patreons. If you're not a part of the Patreons, hit that Cash App. And you can't make this stuff up. When I tell you that you're in a movie, a lot of you laugh. But every time I end up right. Because I know your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. Now we have the Alphabet boys go after Binance and CZ. And I told you that movie was going to keep going. And now it's coming to an end. Why, guys? Because the emerging markets are about to rise. You don't see any other countries going after Binance. Binance was getting registered in so many other countries. It's only the U.S. And don't forget CZ is Canadian. I did a couple videos a long time ago on Binance and CZ. I told you what was going to happen. And we had Kevin O'Leary, which we know is part of the movie. When FTX went down, remember, he's the one who bought up Binance. And every time we had a situation going on with FTX, Binance was side by side. Even though Binance didn't have anything to do with it, some type of article or an event would put Binance with FTX. And when we look at FTX, we saw all the big corporations and big banks coming in to invest. And we know what Mark Yusko stated. We know the banks are the biggest what? I'll let Mark Yusko finish that. But now that Binance is going to be under strict regulation, we know now it's time for the NWO exchanges to rise. And we know Coinbase, we have Andrees, and my guy was right behind that from the beginning. Made over $5 billion when it went public, still has a stake in it, but the biggest stakeholder in Coinbase, I think, is still Vanguard. And we know Vanguard and BlackRock own everything. And then we have Bullish Crypto Exchange, which is ran by who? That's right, the former stock exchange president, Tom Farley. Like I told you guys, the big banks and big corporations have been in crypto from the beginning. This was a well-orchestrated plan. And remember, they're not done with taking these small and medium-sized banks down yet. So that means the crypto movie is going to continue. And you heard what Tom Farley said. They only have 25 cryptos, not 7,000. Remember, you only have 1% of the 1% left. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you, and Brad Garlinghouse told you. Because we know, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, for us at Coinbase, I mean, this is really a vindication of the long-term strategy that we've taken to focus on compliance, make sure we were building a trusted company. And I have to tell you, over the last 10 years since we've been doing that, it has been frustrating at times. We've seen competitors come on the scenes and not take that approach. Sometimes they're able to offer products that we didn't think was legal. And in this environment, we're seeing that regulators are finally acting and they're creating that level playing field. So I think this is vindicating of our strategy, and I think it's good for the industry too to sort of turn the page, make sure that we're following the laws where it's clear today around AML and KYC, and then also make sure that we're getting clarity about the areas of the law where it's not yet clear in terms of commodities, securities, and there's new legislation on the horizon that I think Congress can help with there.
Yeah, it's the biggest issue. I mean, most of the legacy exchanges are caught up in criminal investigations, massive civil investigations, and they're in a state of non-compliance. And that's just, look, it isn't going to work. We can all wish, I think we have a libertarian streak, and we can wish that it would work like that, but it just simply does not. And the winning exchanges are going to be trusted, they're going to be compliant, and they're going to support and bolster the digital assets industry. I mean, it is what it is. I can rail against it, but that's the position we're in.
I mean, Bullish was going to be part of this has been kind of a bumpy road to get to where you are right now. How many employees now?
We have approaching 300. It's Bullish.
And a lot in Hong Kong. I mean, it's global. Right?
Yeah, it's global business. We have about 100 plus in Hong Kong. But Bullish, we don't spend a lot of money on marketing. That's why you and others probably don't know too much about it. It's probably the fastest growing crypto exchange. I say probably only because maybe there's one out there I'm not aware of. We're now number 2 or number 3 in spot Ether and Bitcoin, the two bellwethers every day. We're the 4th or 5th largest spot exchange. We're launching futures this month with a fair wind. We need a few things to fall into place, including regulatory approval, but we're going to launch futures. So that business is doing very well. Slow and steady wins the race here, Joe. Highly compliant. We have 25 coins, not 7,000. You have to pass a rigorous set of standards.
You know all these people in charge of whether there's a spot ETF. You know them all. They all trust you, and they all know you from your prior life. What the hell is happening? And is it something that's going to happen next year? Is it going to be 2025? What's the deal? What's the problem?
I'm not gonna give you a specific date. I guess I'm a little less optimistic of the immediacy of an approval. In other words, like November or even December. The current chairman and the SEC have said that they believe that pretty much everything in crypto, with the exception of Bitcoin, sometimes Ethereum, and possibly stablecoins, are securities, and that securities, at least in the United States, need to trade on a nationally recognized exchange, and they do not today. And I think these two issues at the moment are interwoven. That doesn't mean they can't be decoupled, but I think there's a view that, hey, if these don't trade on an exchange, how do we know that the underlying prices are trustworthy? The thing about Bitcoin that gives me some optimism is everyone acknowledges Bitcoin is not a security, including the regulators. So possibly the Bitcoin ETF does go ahead more quickly, which would be great for the industry, because money will flood into the industry with the Bitcoin ETF. It's just easy to buy. People believe in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be here. Bitcoin's a great invention. It just is. It is a store of value. I know it's volatile. It is a store of value.
Some people think it's a discovery, not an invention. It was already there.
Yeah,
it was always there.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. You've been on Bitcoin.
Of course.
You've been on Bitcoin since the earliest days.
Yeah.
I got some heat from the crypto market by saying that something like 99% of them I thought would go to zero.
We certainly want to see banks succeed in this new world order.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will. During that auction that we saw a little bit before, the attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books, It's Time to Re-Educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.